Hi, my name is Amanda Yan. I'm the Director of Business Intelligence and Analytics at J.Crew. I've been in the data analytics space for over 15 years across insurance, mortgage, and now I'm very happily settled in retail, fashion retail. I'm based out of New York City, and one fun fact about me is I learned how to ice skate last year without breaking a bone. And Paul?
That not breaking a bone part is extremely important.
For sure.
I'm Paul. I'm the CTO and one of the founders of Zenlytic. Zenlytic is an AI data analyst. I've got a master's in data science from Harvard, and I'm based in Denver, Colorado. As a lot of people in Denver, Colorado, I'm into rock climbing in my free time. So before we hop in, I'll talk a little bit about what Zenlytic is. Zenlytic is an AI data analyst. So we make it easy for business people to ask questions and get answers back that they can trust. And then what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about, first of all, why J.Crew needed a solution like this. Like, why did they need an AI data analyst? Fashion moves really quickly, and we'll talk about that. Then we're going to talk about J.Crew's process. What did they try? They tried several other products and tried a POC internally. What did that look like? What worked? What didn't? What did they learn from it? And how did they find Zenlytic eventually? Then we're going to talk about a case study. We're going to talk about some of the things that we're doing with J.Crew and some of the successes we've seen there. And finally, we'll close with some of the lessons learned and what's next for the J.Crew team. So let's hop right in.
Yeah, sure. Just like Paul shared, fashion industry moves very fast. It's probably considered one of the fastest moving industry out there because TikTok's global influence for sure, and because of seasonality, as well as the fast product life cycle. As all of us a data professional here, I think our ultimate goal as data professional is to help our business users to make data-driven decisions whenever possible. But when a report or a dashboard takes 4 to 5 days or even longer to complete on average, unfortunately, not every decision can be data-driven. And our data analytics team, data engineering team, data science team are stretched so thin with a long backlog of our requests. And that's why J.Crew turned to AI. What are the missed opportunities without AI? So, next slide. There are many missed opportunities. I'm just listing two that are very personal to us. One is the personalization of customer journey from end to end. I think personalization is like the holy grail of retail marketing, right? We all know brands are doing this very well. Amazon, for example, and Nike. But not every single retailer has a resource, has a big data, has a computing power, has the analytics capability to do what Amazon and Nike did. But with AI, there's unlock there. And the second one, I think some of us have been into business strategy meetings with our executives where they're just reading the data, trying to understand what happened, synthesizing the data. And sometimes they will have questions, so why did that happen? And sometimes the response they will receive are, oh yeah, that's a great question. Let me take some time, go back, take a look at it, I'll get back to you. But imagine a situation when your executives go into a strategy meeting, they already understand what happened, and they understand why it happened, and they can get together, focus on what's going to happen next, and imagine how impactful that would be. So all of those challenges, missed opportunity are driven by the same root cause, which is leadership had to talk to the data team to get answers to those deeper questions. Dashboards couldn't answer all those questions. Whether you like them or hate them, standard reporting and dashboards, I don't believe they're going away. They serve tremendous values in our organizations, right? They standardize how we interpret the data. They standardize, create a common language of the discussion. It reduces misinformation across different departments. But where dashboard for sure, as I think I'm preaching to the choir here, is it always takes human analysts days to get into deeper dive questions.
Which means that as the business tries to get answers, there's no way the data team can keep up. There's just way more questions in the business than there are humans on the data team to be able to answer them. And that means that the data team is constantly overwhelmed with these ad hoc questions. And it's important to note it's not just J.Crew. Some of our customers are some of the biggest telecom companies, private equity companies on earth, and they all have the same problem. There's way more questions that the business teams have than they're able to get answers to just when the data team themselves are servicing them. And like Amanda said, you can't just answer these questions on dashboards. These are usually deeper questions that get to root causes, scenarios, and other kind of aspects that you really need a human in the loop right now to solve. And that takes a long time. The average wait time for a new dashboard, a new data asset, is about a week. It takes twice as long to get a new dashboard as it does to ship a physical object from London to New York City. So that's a long time for a new data asset. And J.Crew needed to find a different solution. So we're going to talk a little bit about how did they find that solution, and the good way to lean into that is what was the foundation they were building on to begin with?
So when I joined J.Crew two years ago, we have already embarked on the journey of modernizing our data stack. And Snowflake was our source of the data. We moved all the data into Snowflake. And on the BI end, we had 5 business intelligence tools, and we're in the process of consolidating into Power BI. And soon after I joined J.Crew, our amazing data engineering team rolled it out dbt. So when we start exploring agentic AI, agentic analytics, we are in parallel of rolling out dbt as well. dbt was not in place, but we had a really solid foundation. That's what we believed.
Yep. And J.Crew had a very solid foundation. I think by anybody's standards, they'd have a pretty gold-plated data stack. Snowflake, dbt, Fivetran, like very solid, relatively structured, like clean tables, not a lot of craziness. And you would think, like, is it easy to add AI on top of that? Is that something that you can just kind of wheel and deal and get done yourself?
Yeah, sure. That's what we thought. It would be easy. So we decided to build our own internal analytics agent. We use a combination of Vana AI and Azure Open AI services. And what we were looking for, how did we measure the success of the POC? We're looking for accuracy, consistency, sleek visualization, scalability, and analytics capability on top of reporting capability. I think we can all align on at least 4 out of the 5 things. So why didn't J.Crew productionize POC? Do you mind go back to the previous slide quickly? Yeah, okay. Accuracy, I think that was beginning of 2024. So as the industry, we haven't reached a consensus, I believe, at the time about semantic layer should be the foundation of LLM and analytics. So at that time, we used the directly text to SQL model. So we provided 3 levels of training. So first, we just put LLM on top of our Snowflake tables. Very clean set of Snowflake tables. We got 5% accuracy. Then we give a data dictionary, bringing some natural language into the mix. We got 60% accuracy. Awesome. So at the end, we provide some sample queries, sample SQL codes to help the LLM understand how to join the tables together. We got 80% accuracy. It was great, just not good enough. We can't. If you're a data analyst and you go to a business stakeholder and say, I have 80% of accuracy, that's great. What happened to the other 20%? And so another thing I like to talk about is this visualization aspect of it. I know that not every company is passionate about visualization, but J.Crew, as a fashion retail, our business users are extremely visually driven. And there's a rule at the data team is that do not talk to our stakeholders about products if you don't put product image in your report. And another example is the theme colors. And sometimes we get questions from stakeholders, oh, can you please make that chart J.Crew green? Can you make the loyalty tier reports shown in the blue and gold colors? So all those requests add to the complexity. And scalability. If your model requires 3 levels of training to get 80% accuracy, I don't know how we can scale it. Go next slide.
Yep, absolutely. And that's when J.Crew found Zenlytic. One of the really interesting anecdotes that Amanda told me was that they had a consultant help with this and do some of the deep dives on their data. And the consultant's result was actually saying, hey, your data's not AI ready yet. And we got introduced when Amanda and her team came and said, well, we think we've done a pretty good job with our foundation. I think my data is AI ready, actually. Why are these people telling me it's not? And we started chatting and started doing a proof of concept together to show them that their data was actually AI ready.
Right. So as I shared a little bit earlier, my career started out in the insurance industry, so I'm super risk averse. We evaluated 7 SaaS or non-SaaS tools out there. 5 of them, we had a demo, and 3 of them, we had a larger team demo to a larger team, and Zenlytic was a winner at the end. So within 2 weeks, we had a very successful POC with Zenlytic, and within 6 weeks after, we were able to stand up an enterprise-ready and business-ready solution. That is a record speed. Next slide. So as we roll it out, scale it out to our stakeholders, something very interesting happened. We realized that at the beginning, we're focusing on the number. 80% accuracy, can we get more? 90, 95% accuracy. So as the data become more complex, as the data questions become more complex, the right or wrong accuracy became a very subjective term. I can give you 2 examples here. Loyalty transactions. When our marketing business partners ask Zoe, hey, what is year-to-date gross revenue by loyalty tiers? So what do you mean? The status at the time of transaction or the current status? Because the loyalty status changed. So they both could be right, or they both could be wrong, actually. There are 3rd scenarios. I'm not going to go into that. Another example is new versus retained customer. J.Crew Group has 3 brands, J.Crew, J.Crew Factory, and Madewell. So are we talking about new customer at the brand level or cross-brand level? If a customer makes 2 purchases, first purchase and second purchase in a month, do you consider them a new customer or retained customer? They'll become very vague, and it's really hard to pin the accuracy there. Next slide. So that's why we realized that instead of focusing on accuracy, what we need to focus on the trust. Here's what I mean. So we need Zoe to clearly explain to us how she approaches every single problem, and also even ask additional clarification questions and list out assumptions in every single response.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we've seen the same thing across our customer base as well, is that the most important aspect of the AI analyst is that it's able to explain clearly to the end user what it did. For end users to actually trust the results, they need to know what the AI did, what assumptions it's making, where is it pulling these definitions from, why is it using this definition in this way. Like Amanda said, a lot of the times, there's not a single right answer to some questions. There's different ways to look at questions across an organization, and the AI system needs to do, just like a good human analyst does, a great job explaining why it's made the decisions it's making and what it's doing. And end users can trust a system like that way more than they can trust a sort of blind accuracy percentage.
100%.
And as they had that sort of solid trust foundation, the J.Crew team wanted to be able to expand these capabilities across a lot of the members on their team. What they found was really interesting, that these AI-forward users were coming in and they were the ones really leaning in and getting these great results. And I'll let Amanda talk a little bit more
Yes,
about that.
I'm going to give you 2 examples, and one from the beginning of their journey, and one a recent success. So the first one is product attribute preferences, not only product preferences. One of our most popular reports that's killing our Power BI capacity is the bestseller reports. And that lists out the top 10 bestsellers by brand and by department. Right? And I saw one of the conversation one of our business holders asking, it started from product bestsellers by like product preferences by different customer segmentation, and into product attribute preferences by different segmentation. I remember seeing that heat map where the horizontal axis is customer segmentation, and the vertical axis lists out things like fabric, color family, embellishment like buttons or no buttons, height of the waist. And then there is a heat map and shows a very dark color shows which customer segmentation is heavily indexed on which product attribute. And that blew my mind because at that time we haven't given Zoe our official product attributes. How did she figure it out? Then what I realized what she did was to go through our product hierarchy, product departments information, and going through the product description column at picking all this up. It was pretty impressive. And immediately what we do, within 2 days, we were able to feed it our official product attribute and made it even more powerful. And the second one is a recent success. A couple of weeks ago, J.Crew launched a very successful campaign on our roll neck sweaters. The business was super excited about it. So immediately after the first weekend and on Monday, one of our executives went into Zoe and started asking, hey, do you conduct a demographic analysis? So Zoe is able to identify like the customer profiles of the customers for the roll neck sweaters, the generation they're from, average household income, and their gender and their age group. So then the conversation went on to analyzing what are the cross-selling products in the same basket. And this is so super powerful because that can help us understand what our customer preferences are and on a very individual level.
Yeah, and these sort of AI power users were coming in and getting really, really great results. Just really incredible things that I was able to see them ask. But at the same time, driving adoption among these more traditional users is still a problem. There's a lot of people and inside of both our customers and probably all of your organizations who don't even really use ChatGPT or Claude or any of the other AI tools that are out there. And just because you put an AI analyst in front of someone, if they haven't used these kind of AI tools before, they might not have good intuition for how to use it. And they need more hand-holding and more training to make that work. And it's a constant work in progress to keep that training and to make sure that those users are helped too, not just the power users who naturally come in and ask a lot of these questions and get a lot of great results because they're familiar with AI products. So I'll talk through a little bit of what I've seen work well, starting with some preset questions so that a new user coming in doesn't have to think of a question on top of their head. They're able to just click on a preset question and get an answer, see a little bit about how the system works, how it answers questions. That does a lot for training people and giving them the context that they need to be able to understand how the system's working. The other one is being able to template workflows or answers so that if someone comes in, someone like Amanda or someone more who's into AI more is able to come and template out, hey, this is how we could do a deep analysis of this specific customer. Then whenever the end user comes in, they can kick off that template, key in just the company or supplier they care about, click go, see the whole answer come back with all that detail. And again, it's a good way to sort of on-ramp people who aren't really AI native into using these more sophisticated products. And then there's the normal stuff that you would expect, trainings, walking people through how to use these systems, what kind of questions they can ask, what data is in the system, and what works here. And finally, it's going to where users live. That means in Slack, in Teams, and taking this kind of intelligence and bringing it to the systems that people already live in instead of making them go and log into a new one. These are some of the things we've seen work well with our customers, and Amanda can share some about what she's seen work well too.
Sure. So what we've learned from rolling out Zenlytic and scaling out Zenlytic is that introducing an AI tool into a business is different in many ways from introducing a BI tool. So at onboarding, I think our traditional onboarding of a dashboard is that we show a dashboard and show our business how to use a filter, how to use toggle, and what our different pages, different reports are. But for rolling out the AI, it's a demoing, right? During the demo, you have two responsibilities. First of all, prove that this tool is accurate. And the second one, impress them with additional capability, not just reporting. Because just show reporting, they will say, oh, we can't get this from Power BI. Like, why do I need to bother with this one? So here's what we often do during a demo. We have split screen. And on one side, we'll ask a live question. It's simple, and we know we'll get the right answer. But that's also very relevant to them. And through that, we build trust. And on the second split screen, while that live query is running, we show, hey, while this is running, we want to show you what Zoe is actually capable of. And with the two punch together, we can really have a very successful demo. And the training is very different between traditional BI and AI for BI. With the traditional BI, like we said, we show them how to do the dashboard, then become very reactive. Sometimes we have additional questions, add additional metrics, add an additional chart. We're very reactive. But with AI, it requires a lot of hand-holding, right? What we often do is when we roll this out to a cohort of stakeholders, we would follow their every single conversation for a couple of weeks after. Sometimes we see really great questions, really good answers. We encourage them, hey, this is great. And here's additional question you can ask. It may not be relevant to you, but here's what you can ask additionally. And when we see the wrong answers they got, we would always reach out and say, this is why the question isn't right, and how we found out it wasn't right, how we read explanation from Zoe to figure out this isn't right. So that's also part of the training. Then additional is, it can go two ways. Maybe on one side, we'll say, okay, it's a prompting. You can adjust your prompt, then you get the right answer. Or on the other hand, sometimes it's something we need to do on the back end, provide additional context, build an additional measure, adding a system prompt. And at the end, we would always say, here is an example of the conversation that gave us the right answer. And scaling. Scaling is probably not different from traditional BI too. It's not just about adding users to it. It's about driving consistent adoption, consistent usage across all the business users, and help them to embed Zoe in Zenlytic into their daily decision making.
Yep, that's great. And so we've seen a little bit about how we onboarded users, both these AI power users who just kind of jumped in and didn't need a lot of training, and your more traditional users who haven't used AI, who needed a little bit more hand-holding to get in the solution. Now we get to talk about the really fun stuff, which is what are the results? What did J.Crew actually do with this? And how did the rubber meet the road in terms of decisions that were made and changes that happened?
Yeah. I already showed two examples at the beginning and of some of the cool analysis we did, and here's another case study. So J.Crew carries women, children, go next slide. Women, children, and kids product. One of the questions our stores would ask is, should we have kids assortment in this particular store, right? Because the store real estate is very expensive, especially in the large cities like New York City. But we cannot cram all the styles into a store because then you will look and feel aesthetic of the store. And can we go next slide? So traditionally, the approach is to check the revenues from that particular assortment. Hey, do the children items sell very well, generate a lot of revenue? If not, maybe it's not worth it. But Zenlytic was able to help us do is to identify the cohort of the customers who shop at the store and analyze their shopping across both online and the retail store, and understand what are the shopping patterns in other stores. And sometimes we identify this as family shopper. By family shopper, I mean like a woman who would go in there and shop also for kids and for their husbands, which I often do. And sometimes what we decide is that, you know what, it's not about eliminate children department from the store, it's actually adding additional assortment. And the coolest part is that the insights are generated in minutes, not days.
Yeah, it was a really great result, and really cool to know that those kind of smarter decisions are what's driving the assortments that actually show up in the J.Crew stores we all go to across the country. And we'll close with just a few of these lessons for success using AI. So we'll do three kind of myths and the truth, reality here. So the first one is the myth that AI will replace the analysts, that analysts are out of a job, these AI systems are going to come in and change things for them. I think the big difference here is that AI fundamentally empowers analysts to deliver more value for the business. And what that means is that businesses don't want less cost and less value. Businesses want the same cost and 10 times the value, because there's already way more decisions that need to be made and need to be informed by data than can actually be informed by data today. I think the unlock is that AI is going to make data teams 10x or more productive, which means they're going to be able to inform more and more of the decisions that the business is making. And so instead of replacing analysts, AI is empowering them to deliver more value.
Yeah, the second myth, you need perfect data. I think as an industry for the past 2 years, we're talking about AI readiness. But how ready is AI? Is your data AI ready? It's a very tough concept to really put your finger on. What we've learned in building our own AI agent and also working with Zenlytic is that if you have a BI on your data architecture, it's very likely that your data is already AI ready. What you need is to start experimenting it. Through your experimentation, you have more concrete understanding of, in your specific organization, what your data needs to be like to be AI ready, and also find the right partner to meet you exactly where you are.
Absolutely. And the final myth is that it's not just technology. You don't drop this technology in and it's somehow magic and everybody uses it. That will be true of some people. That will be true of the people who are maybe the more AI interested or AI curious people. But that won't be true of everyone. It's not magic. It still takes change management. It still takes giving this technology and empowering the people who are really hungry for it, in addition to training the people who aren't as hungry for it but can benefit greatly from it. So just because this AI feels magical doesn't mean that there's no change management anymore. You still have to train your people on how to use these kind of products. And finally, the last thing I'd say is start now. Like Amanda was saying, the success here is not waiting to kind of boil the ocean or getting everything in the perfect spot and then revealing the AI that knows everything. Pick a domain, start small, understand the business needs, understand what good looks like at the end of the day for your business counterparts. Pick the right partner to work with and iterate. You'll make mistakes, you'll have learnings, and you get to a good spot by starting small in a certain domain, iterating. Once you get success, add more domains on.
Yep. Just to echo what Paul has shared, trust that your data is more AI ready than you think they are, and truly understand what your business needs are. As you're looking for a tool that meets where you are, you also need to be at a place where you can meet where your business needs are, and start experimenting it.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for coming. I know there are a lot of exciting sessions here, and thank you all for choosing to spend time with us, and we'll be here for questions.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like we do have a mic for questions. Great.
Hi, my name is Lorenz Matarang, and I'm a huge fan of J.Crew. I'm wearing a Ludlow suit.
Yeah!
I wanted to ask, so with this AI workflow or project that you've implemented, can you foresee, so like fashion, you're trying to anticipate trends and styles. Do you foresee this project being able to help with that?
100%. The reason I'm saying that, I did not realize it until J.Crew is that fashion is very data-driven. The way we think about fashion, we're probably thinking about global trends and our influencers, but the way we plan out our assortment three quarters, I think we're trying to shorten it. So 3 quarters down the road is we're looking at what are the best sellers right now, right? We're looking at the product attributes. For example, like, should we get more a maxi skirt or a mini skirt? Do the customers prefer what kind of color, what kind of fabric? And all this data go inside into our future assortment. Of course, we're also looking at like the global cultural influence, and to understand that, I think Zenlytic is able to take care of, at current stage, that in the first part of it, and I know you guys are working on exciting improvements to be able to search the external data and understanding the trend. I'm sure once that's in place, it will become very powerful and really help J.Crew to plan out assortment in the future.
One more question. I don't know if you were able to go over this, but what was the LLM that you used for this specific project?
Claude 4 and Claude 4.5 Sonnet. So as we've worked with J.Crew, the Claude models have proved to be the most effective for their use cases, and every kind of iteration of the Claude models provides some pretty exciting improvements.
Yeah, but in Zenlytic, you can actually select like 10 of them, right?
Yeah.
You can use GPT, different version of GPT, and Claude. But in our experience, Claude is the best.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Harshita. Thank you so much for taking time to share this with us. I had a quick question just around as you were planning or building the POC and then productionizing it, were there any interesting edge cases that came up that left your head scratching?
Edge cases. Oh, I think the nuances are the most difficult to work with. Like, for example, I shared two like right or wrong questions, right? The loyalty status is such difficult concept to work on, and we're still working through it. And because customer status changes over time. And sometimes when our stakeholder go into it, they don't even ask. So when normally they go to our data science team, our data science team will ask them to clarify, which status are you looking at? But at the beginning, I think Zoe would provide an answer, but through iteration, we would prompt Zoe to always ask that question. Hey, which status do you want to look at? And this is what I've done, but is this the right one you're looking for? I think a lot of nuances with the data that it's definitely took us some work to work through. You know.
Sweet, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I think I've got 2.5 questions. How did you assess accuracy? Have you noticed traditional BI tool usage go down since rolling out Zenlytic? And
Sorry, I heard the first part, how do we measure accuracy and how do you
measure accuracy? Have you noticed your traditional BI tools usage go down since rolling out Zenlytic? And do your data teams use Zenlytic now instead of whatever workflow they used before, or do they still use some data-specific tools?
3 questions here. How do we measure accuracy? I think we addressed a little bit earlier, and we do have a traditional BI tool to compare against. So on the reporting level, at the beginning, right, whenever we get an answer, we can compare to our Power BI reports, and also on our side, on the BI side, we try to read through, understand the SQL that's generated to support that, and to understand it's accurate. Over time, we did shift from we trust it's accurate because the semantic layer. The accuracy is there, and sometimes the question is really what is accurate, like I mentioned earlier, what is right or wrong. So we shifted from the accuracy considering to the trust consideration. So the second question, do we see Power BI usage down? No, not at all. As I shared earlier, traditional dashboards have its place, right? And our business users are still going there to get a high-level view of the picture. It's only when the deep dive, that's when they will pull in Zenlytic to do additional analysis. So the third question is, the data team. And yes, actually our data team are the power user, most AI-forward power users. And we also rely on them to give us feedback. And we encourage them, when you get a question from the business, your stakeholders, go to Zoe fast, ask her questions, and let us know how she performs. If she gets a wrong answer, let us know, and we'll reiterate and make sure it's correct. So they are actually the biggest contributor of success of Zenlytic. Thank you. All right.
Great.
Oh, one more question.
Hi, my name is Kyle DeRosa. I'm really thankful that you came and actually talked about a real experience here of implementing something. So I really appreciate you guys coming out. Kind of following along on kind of the accuracy question, I'm interested in hearing about how you believe that goes forward as the LLMs evolve or as you want to choose across different LLMs. Does that change the way in which you're looking to Does that change the way in which you need to continually monitor these systems? And if so, does that mean that's an entirely new role for an analyst team to sort of take on for themselves, to sort of babysit and monitor the LLMs and their accuracy over time?
I can speak to some of what our customers are doing. A lot of I kind of put that into a few different buckets. There's you as the data team want to know about what are the concepts that are being asked for a few reasons. One of the important ones is if a lot of people are asking about a new concept that doesn't really have a definition, that's a good indicator that you should probably go in as the data team and say, okay, well, what is the right way to think about this? There's maybe several different ways the AI can answer that question. Let's guide it to answer it in this way because that's what we want. Then there's what are the conversations that are happening? What kind of results are people getting? And as a result, what sort of decisions are they making? And I think that monitoring piece is actually an increasingly important muscle for data teams to work because previously humans would have to be in the loop for answering all of those questions. Now they don't, but it's still important for you to know what answers are coming out and what people are seeing when they make decisions. And like Amanda said, it helps you iterate on the definitions and on the context that the model's able to see when it makes those decisions to make sure at the end of the day you have the best result for the business people. So I think it's absolutely a muscle that the data teams will have to build. Yeah, it's more exciting than answering all of them one by one. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and appreciate your time today.
And thank you. And meet Zenlytic at their booth in the Discovery Hall. Thank you.
Yeah, come by. Say hi. Thank you.